is going on, everyone's? We are here and we are back with another episode of
Is My Point Valid?
Yes, indeed. I am yours truly, Brandon D.
And I am Camille A. Stalker.
And like we always do, thank you to everyone who continues to subscribe to our channel. If you see any value, get any value, like what you see, like what you hear. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend because it helps us grow, and we really appreciate it. Aside from that, these are the conversations that need to be had. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into this episode. So, the topic for today is going to be
Black people didn't build anything.
Hey, man. There is a lot of talk about Black people. They're going online and they're saying how they built America. They built all these things in Africa, and it's kind of crazy because the things that Black people are associating themselves with are the things that are most jacked up.
Yeah.
So I started looking to see if there was any reference to these things and why they're happening, and the reason why Black people think that we built all these things, but that's really not true. And we found a video, or I found a video, and we want to play that video for y'all. And we're going to, commentate on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a little 2 cents on it. So Here we go.
You get my vote. Yay and amen. I'm for that. But before we get there, we need to hear some truth. Black people and white folk. Black people got a problem. And it's a God problem.
When black people say,
he said it's a God problem. And we need to get some truth. And there is a God problem. I say that. And I've never seen this man in my life.
I don't think he's lying. I think he telling the truth.
I've never seen this man in my life. And why he says like it's a God problem, because when you understand, I don't think a lot of people understand, we are all sinners. Like we're all across the board. Everybody is a sinner. But Blacks do not read the Bible. They'll go to church and they'll listen to what everybody else has to say, but they will not open the Bible for themselves to get. Matter of fact, they won't open any book.
What's that old saying they say about Black people? If you don't want Black people to know something, put it in the book.
So they don't go look for themselves to gain understanding. And the Lord tells us that when you read his word, you gain wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Now, will we understand everything? No, but you will understand his word and a better understanding of why he had the Bible. People don't want truth.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. All right, we're gonna keep it going.
World, I don't care. You can train them. You can train a Black man to be a physician. You can train him to be an astrophysicist. You can train him to be a lawyer, but you can't train him to understand the world. He doesn't know. I'm telling you. There's not 2 cents worth of difference between a mass murderer. There's not 2 cents of difference between a petty thief that's locked away in prison than a Black doctor when it comes to understanding the world. Listen, you listen to me.
All right, so he just said
we got to deal with this.
Hold on. What did he say? There's not a difference between a petty thief and a doctor. When it comes to understanding the world. And what he means by that is we be stuck on this. I have degrees. A degree in one thing doesn't make you universally smart.
Right, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And we have all these degrees, yes. We may specialize in a field, yes. But we don't specialize in running nothing.
Right.
And that's the problem.
That is the main issue. That's what he's saying. That you go to school and you get a degree in a certain field, but a petty thief is good as he a petty thief. He ain't good at stealing. But like it's the same. And I go back to that what I said in the beginning. Sinners. You're all sinners.
We are. As we continue.
And we need to begin to acknowledge it, talk about it, ask God to help us, because only God can help Black people where they are. black people had Africa, that big old continent over there.
Big old
They
continent.
never built one boat that was seaworthy. Not one.
Who built all the boats? Where the boats come from?
Well, from my studies in history, it was the Spanish. The Spanish were building the boats.
The conquistadors.
Well, they weren't called the conquistadors because if you think about Columbus, so people talk about Columbus. So I'm gonna talk about Columbus. Columbus was Italian, and during this time, he was trying to get his people to get the boats, let them go on this the mission, right? So he goes to Spain, and under Queen Isabella, and I think I can't think of his name, but Queen Isabella. So he goes to Spain, and that's how he's able to go travel the ocean, sail the ocean blue in 1492. That's how he's able to do it. So that's how. So it was the Spanish who were building these ships.
Hey, I know one thing: black people wouldn't have built the ships for themselves.
And Moors were very good at building ships, but in Moors, people's like they were black. Moors were Arabs. And they were Muslim.
Middle Easterns.
Yeah, they were Muslim.
But we're going to get into that whole regional thing. He's going to talk about that in just a second.
Yep.
Let's get back into it.
There's not one monument in Africa, in all of Africa. I know you're talking about Egypt. Egypt is not Africa.
Okay, pause there because I know people are going to like trip. Yes, Egypt is in Africa. But fun fact, Egypt is also Asia and Africa. So
a little bit
of both.
It's like the Middle East.
And then if you read the Bible and you see when Paul was traveling, like he was in Asia and then it was Egypt and it was Jerusalem, like is the Middle East.
So I'm not too sure that all of this stuff started in Africa.
I mean, you can read the Bible. There I go.
I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt.
You can read the Bible.
If you can read, you will see. But as we continue.
There are no great cities that were built. Even before the first colonization of white people coming to the shores of Africa or the slave ships, black men built nothing. No sewer system, no houses above.
So I want to say, because he said black men built nothing and they were coming on slave ships and all these things. Well, a lot of people don't like the fact that Africans were selling Africans.
Africans will sell your African behind.
The homie and all those tribes, they were selling.
The homies were selling you.
They were selling
straight up
the weaker people from the tribes to white men. I'm gonna say white men. And for what? Sugar, for liquor,
all kind of goods.
It was for good.
They were selling y'all off.
And so,
hey,
I don't know. I just
one level, and none of them made out of stone. All of them made out of grass and wood. Black men, before the white man ever got to Africa.
Hold on. I want to say something about that. When he said black people don't build nothing. Last episode, I talked about how I be trying to explain how it's important for young black men or even young men, period, to get into these trades. Mm-hmm. And they tell me when they hear plumbing or anything like that,
nasty.
Oh, I ain't swimming in no boo-boo.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of benefit to swimming in this. Mm-hmm. And you don't even really be swimming in boo-boo. Like a lot of black kids that I talk to, and like I said, it needs to be for all kids all across the board. But a lot of black kids, they be like, I ain't swimming in no boo-boo.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, you nasty. When I first met you, I was like, yeah,
then
what
we
are we?
check.
Yeah, what are we?
And then that's something to be proud of. You're contributing to society. Mm-hmm. You're like, I've dealt with hospitals, schools, data centers. This is a contribution to society, to infrastructure,
yes,
to the economy.
Right.
So hey, we got to get out here and start working. But we're going to get back into this video.
Worst thing that could ever happen to South Africa was when they gave it to Nelson Mandela and black folk. That
I'm ready.
That boy ain't told no lie.
No lie.
Because we love, we're going to talk about character in our next episode, but black people love to overlook people's character for a few good things that they have done for a few good people, for a few people. And I'm here to tell you, the character of this Nelson Mandela guy, it wasn't it say. We don't need to be praising that boy for nothing.
Now, I remember reading his, I think his autobiography some years ago, and I was so confused because I didn't understand it, but now I understand. Like, this man was a straight up communist. Like, he was plotting against his own people. You know how we always say
black on black crime,
right? It was black on black crime. So you think of Nelson Mandela and you're like, oh, well, he spent all that time in prison. Well,
he was supposed
to be in prison because he was going against government. So
he tried to overthrow the government.
Yes, and it was him and his wife, Winne Mandela. And if you think Nelson Mandela was bad, she was tired.
We had this conversation earlier today, and we we're talking about how we thought the male slave owners were the worst ones.
It was them women.
It's them women.
It's them women.
Them women, the women, the wives of the communists, the wives of the slave owners, the wives of all these socialists. Them be the worst ones. Because they be flying under the radar and they're the nastiest ones. So, yeah.
So Nelson Mandela was anti-apartheid, an anti-apartheid activist. He served as the first president of South Africa. He was a part of the African National Congress, or the ANC, which is a socialist political party that advocates for the rights of Black South Africans, kind of something like what we have in the United States, the Democratic Party, right? Because they cater to Blacks, but the Blacks that they're catering to aren't thriving. They're not making the economy better. It's worsening. The government is giving them things. The government is like okaying them living in poverty. So if these people are living in poverty and they're saying and giving handouts, but they say whatever they used to say, Mandela, they used to call him something. I can't remember what his name was. So the ANC fought for racial oppression, but he oppressed his own people.
Absolutely. While hating on the white farmers.
Right.
So it says right here, in the Trumpet, I found this article. It said in 1980, there were 128,000 commercial farmers in South Africa. Today, there are 40,000. About 200 white farmers have been murdered every year since the end of apartheid in 1994. According to the Genocide Watch, 3,000 white farmers have been killed by blacks. Many of these killed by even unbelievably gruesome victims in disemboweled, dragged to death behind vehicles, mothers raped in front of their children, and babies boiled to death in hot water. That's y'all Nelson Mandela. That's the same ideology that he was pushing, and it's still going on today. So his impact is still registering today. And we're mad about 59 white South Africans who are fleeing being killed.
Because they're being killed.
But we want sympathy. We're going to keep on moving with this video because something ain't making sense. And I'm starting to really think black people ain't building nothing. So let's keep it.
A great nation. Now, notwithstanding apartheid was wrong, we all know it's wrong.
We know it was wrong.
Against it. There should have been some other resolution, though, than turning it over to Nelson Mandela. Disease, AIDS, and crime is running wild in Johannesburg. They're killing one another over there.
It's running wild in the United States, too.
But it's not running. It's running wild. It's not that wild. So in South Africa, or in Africa, no, in South Africa, in 2024, it says 8 million people were living with HIV/AIDS. And then in 2022, the numbers are 1.56 million Black Africans in 2022 were living with HIV/AIDS.
In the country of how many? God, dog.
Right. And I forgot to look at that.
Of people.
Yep.
Goodness gracious.
Yep.
And this is what happens when you allow Black people to run something. A whole lot of genocide, a whole lot of doggone famine, a whole lot of doggone disease, infection. These people ain't got running water.
And you're saying this is what happens when you let Black people run something. I think it's what happens when you have Black people who don't have integrity run something. Whose morals and their values are just, when they're thinking about themselves, like there is no integrity, because you can say, hey, you're at the bottom. I don't have to care about you. But as long as I keep you down there, the more money I get. Yeah. So
the lower I keep you, the higher I am.
Yep. So there's no integrity in this.
Move right along.
Tired of sickness. The government is mismanaged. The people who ran the nation are now leaving the nation because Black folk don't know how to run no nation. They don't know how, and we need to admit it. I know you don't like it, but you need to stop shucking and jiving. We got a problem.
When people say these things, like we've been saying these things, they call us shuckers and jivers. But it turns out all of y'all are shucking and jiving. Y'all don't want to be real with yourselves. The only time we are successful is when we work hand in hand with white people. Other than that, we're going to create something that's just for us. It's going to flop, and we're going to do it again and again and again and not realize the common denominator is when we do things just amongst Black people is not successful.
Right. You're talking about that. There is a guy named Frank Zanu. I think that's what his name is, but he talks about maintenance, and he was talking to two Africans. He was talking about maintenance, and they were like, well, we know. He's like, no, the African countries aren't surviving because you don't know how to maintain. So what is maintenance? One, to keep in an existing state as of repair. 2, to sustain against opposition or danger. 3, to continue in, carry on. If something is going well, like right now, we're in the United States, and you have this mindset of Black people, we want to take control. But do you know how to run? Like,
once y'all get this control, what y'all gonna do? You
will not know how to have the maintenance to carry it on.
Even with the whole reparations thing, the whole we want our land back. Who's gonna work this land? Y'all favorite person, Jasmine Crockett, already told you, y'all ain't finna work no land.
Right.
Y'all don't know how. We gave up those skills for fake intellect.
Yep.
We gave up everything that was gonna help us sustain our economic independence for voting rights.
And that's what Booker T. Washington was trying to do. Well, this is what Booker T. Washington did do.
That's what he stood for.
He accomplished this.
Stood on.
And he saw what the Negro came out of in slavery, right? Because he came out of it. And he said, they didn't know how to brush their teeth. They didn't know how to dress. They didn't know how to eat properly, sit together as a family and eat. So we see those things today and be like, that's white culture.
That's whiteness.
No, it's culture. This is culture because these are the things that should be done. Booker T. Washington was also saying how, you get you're ex-slaves, but you don't know how to live, but you have these nice items in your home.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the
same thing today. We have all these name brand things. Our credit jacked up. Our car about to be doggone repossessed. We're about to go in foreclosure, and we have all of these nice possessions around our house. I seen this video of this woman. I don't know where she shops at. I think it's Marshall's, but she bought the whole Marshall section, and it was like Marshall. It was like glass, everything, them fake Chanel, the fake Fendi, all the decorations
to keep up with the Joneses. And,
for what?
But you have that, and so then you go back to that word maintenance. But you can't. like, and I'm gonna say, like, even with our infrastructure and the outside, look at all the trash that's on the ground. I don't know if y'all grew up like this, but this was big within us, within our family. My daddy was always like, if you see trash, pick it up, because this is this is where you live, right? So you see trash, pick it up, put it, so that maintenance, like, that was instilled in us. Me and my sister, we see some trash, got dog it, we'd be like, why do people do that? But anyway, it's maintenance.
And that's what Black people don't know how to do. Maintain.
Right.
Nigeria produces oil every year, yet the children over there are hungry and pot-bellied and walking barefoot. We got a problem. You talk about the Hutus and the Tutsis. Look what's going on in Zimbabwe now with Mugabe. We got a problem, Black folk. And forget about Zimbabwe and South Africa, Nigeria. Look at what y'all have done in Harlem.
It's crazy because before we get into what they're about to say right then, the two major cities, Johannesburg and St. Petersburg, were settled, maintained by white
South African. Yep.
And everywhere else that was maintained by Black Africans looks like a war zone. Very interesting. Move right along.
You can't even hold on to Harlem.
Harlem.
Y'all can't hold on to Harlem?
Let's talk about
Y'all
Harlem.
took Harlem first off.
I ain't gonna say they took it, but occupy the land. But anyway, Harlem was where the Dutch originally settled from England in 1600s. From 1600s and the 1800s, then you have the Jewish and the Italians. Then in 1920s, this is when Black Southerners were migrating to the north because they're like, hey, there ain't a lot to do. So, and then it was the Industrial Revolution, Industrial Revolution that was happening. So Blacks migrated from the south to the north. Harlem thrived, but it began decreasing because of the Great Depression. But who was living in the Great Depression and was decreasing in, with because no jobs to enrich the neighborhood.
Hey, when you try to stay all Black, things don't go so well.
And then it was like where, artists and authors and stuff, they were meeting, but there was the WPA, something that something that Franklin Delano Roosevelt put into place for artists, authors, and like those type of people during the Harlem Renaissance that would help them and like would fund them so that they could have money to like publish books and all this other stuff. Like so Langston Hughes and all them, like that's where they were in Harlem, but it was not thriving after Black people came into it. So let Mr. What's
got
his
a
name?
problem.
Manning.
Black folks don't understand the world. You can get mad with me all you want. You can say but you can't prove me wrong. Now, I'm not saying this because I hate Black folk. I'm saying it because I love you enough to tell the truth. Right. And the only person going to ever help us get out of the situation is going to be God. There's something wrong with the Black man's mind.
And that's another thing people think. They think when you say these things, you hate Black people or you hate yourself.
Right.
Anytime you say something against Black women, you hate your mama, you hate your wife. Say, man, stop all that projecting.
Yeah.
That ain't what this is. We don't believe in that. We believe in doggone telling the truth. And if the truth is ugly, so be it. It has to be, because that's what it is. The truth is ugly.
Well, and I think a lot has been sugar-coated. A lot of what we've learned about history through the public school system has been a lie. And then you go and you read and like, wait, that's how that happened. This is why this happened. And then you begin to see, well, hold on, we're not really victims, right? Like, okay, in slavery, yes, you were a victim, but there were options then too, because I have this argument. When we talk about 1619 and we talk about the 20 slaves that were coming here, here's what I've read. They weren't they were indentured servants. They were put to work for 7 years.
Describe the difference.
So indentured servants, it's even in the Bible.
Some people don't know.
But indentured servants, you would work for 7 years. and then you would be free after those 7 years. So that's what happened when I talk about Anthony Johnson. He was an indentured servant. Once he was free, he was able to obtain, I think, a wife, like from 69, like one of the originals, and then he bought his own land. But then he started the indentured servitude. Mm-hmm. And so that's how that happened. Yeah. So they didn't come over here and just like, oh, we're going to whip you and all this. That's not what was happening at first. Once his case went to court and he was like, I own you because you're my property, then that's when it started to change. But when slavery began,
he started the whole lifetime slavery deal.
But when those 20 were brought here, it was indentured servitude. And then it was not only Black people that were Africans that were being brought here. It was white people from England, like poor white people who were coming here, becoming indentured slaves as well.
Nope. Clear that up. This is straight up. Right on.
There's something wrong with his mind. His mind. He does not understand the world.
He don't understand the world.
I don't care if he learned medicine. He doesn't understand the world. He can't even hold on to Harlem. When he was here, he moved out. We got to talk to the Lord. People, we got to talk to God.
That's the only thing that's going to save us. The Lord.
And Black women.
Oh, man, when he said that, it sounded like bro doggone Bernie Mac in Players Club. You beautiful Black.
Oh goodness. Oh my word.
You sum them up. All right, move right along. My fault.
Shirley Chisholm. Harriet Tubman. Coretta King, one of her boys. Yeah, okay. Then we got.
I had somebody tell me Harriet Tubman would have left me behind for my ideology. I'm like, boy, I would have been the damn fool to be waiting on Harriet Tubman to try to free me. What type of niggas, dudes is y'all? Waiting on this woman to come free y'all, like y'all ain't got your own willpower. Lord have mercy. Move right along.
Black president. But you Black women, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all gonna let that white woman? What's wrong with you Black women voting for Barack? Don't you understand? It should have been a Black room if you're gonna have a Black president. What's wrong with you?
That's his mama.
Y'all ain't got no sense. You.
Who is that?
I think that's his mama.
Oh,
I don't know what
Black
she looks
women.
like, young.
Your men treat you like the dogs, like your dogs. They walk all over you. They make you pay the bills at home, and then the preachers pimp you in the churches and make you pay the bills. Y'all crazy Black women buying these Black men private jets, the tune of $50 million for a nigga to ride around in a private jet, and you talk about, look at our pastor. What's wrong with y'all women? What's wrong with you?
Hey. T.D. Jakes.
Creflo.
Mike Todd, Creflo Dollar, Jamal Bryant, all these Black doggone pastors is pimping y'all. Y'all being pimped. Y'all listen to y'all pastor more than y'all listen to y'all husband. Y'all listen to everybody more than y'all listen to y'all husband. But that's another topic for another day. We're gonna keep it moving.
What's wrong with you?
What's
wrong with a Black man that would take that kind of money out of a poor neighborhood and buy himself a private jet? What's wrong with y'all niggas? What's wrong with you?
Amen.
What's wrong with you, Black women? What's wrong with you voting for Barack Obama? What's wrong with you?
I ain't know.
What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy.
Sorry, I repented. Hold on now.
I was crazy too.
Man,
I voted for that fool.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Lord,
I didn't know.
I apologize. Straight up.
Please
forgive me.
I thought he was for
he was for us, but he was for everything but us.
Yeah.
Keeping it moving. And by us, I mean American.
Yes.
Black people, let me tell y'all something. If you don't ever hear me say preach again, they can kill me tomorrow. But let me tell you something. We're not going to ever get anywhere until we look into the mind of a Black man. He doesn't think correctly. I don't care what he is. He can be a doctor. He can be an astrophysicist. The nigga ain't got no sense. You talk to him. You talk to a Black man. He doesn't understand the world. He's never built anything. The most the Black people have ever done, they did it here in America under white people's help. When they were in Africa, they didn't do nothing.
Hey,
They didn't do nothing.
they didn't do nothing. Say, some people would think he's a liar. Some people don't know. I'm here to tell you that there's a lot of truth to what this man is saying. And
were you about to close? Because I want to say something.
Go ahead and say what
Just,
you gotta say.
you know, you go through Black neighborhoods and you see the conditions of the houses, right? And then if you go into older neighborhoods that are predominantly white, you see the conditions of their houses, of their roofs. So when I'm gonna compare the two. And so you see that a white man will make sure that his shutters are painted, that his house is neat, that the lawn is mowed. When you go into Black neighborhoods, houses are boarded up. Houses are not livable.
Say.
There's the blue tarp over roofs and
that's
stuff.
that doggone FEMA tarp.
Yes.
It ain't been a hurricane in 3 years.
Because it's not FEMA doing it.
They doing it themselves.
Yes. So there is an ability there, but it's laziness. And this is something that you've owned. And even if you didn't own it, your grandmother or your grandfather put their hard-earned money
Blood, sweat,
into
and
it.
tears.
And then they didn't understand the obligation of taking care of a home, you know, the extra money that you should put into your home and all these other things. But, you know, when you don't know better, you can't do better.
And that's why we buy homes and can't afford to doggone do the plumbing.
Right.
Because we don't even take those things into account because we don't know how to maintain. We just know how to buy things. We are strictly consumers. We very rarely are leaders of anything significant unless it's Black.
Right. And you're saying that. I don't like the fact that a lot of Black people who will help with credit are like, all you need is a 580 and we'll get you into this house.
Yeah.
I know there are some people out there who are doing the work to say, hey, let's get your finances in order. Let's put this. I know there are people doing that. But there are some people who are just saying, hey, you got this 580, I can get you in this house.
Yeah.
And then you cannot pay for
Off
it.
the bare minimum.
Like, this is that.
Yeah, I can get you in the house. I can get you the down payment. I can get you the closing costs. But who's going to pay these monthly mortgage payments?
Right. Can you
Where's that
afford
coming
it?
from?
Right. That goes back to when you're talking about the lady in Marshalls. Like, she's buying all this stuff for the looks of it. And we want these, talking about homes because of the maintenance of it and this. And so he's saying in Africa, they're still living in huts. They're not building anything. So that's why I was looking at
They ain't built nothing over one story and it's all grass and doggone, it's no brick. You can, if you look at Africa now, like even on National Geographic or whatever, you can see that it's not coming up. It's staying where it has been.
Dilapidated. Which one is it? Dilapidated or dilapidated?
Like
Which one?
Yeah. But you get what we saying straight up. But say we gotta do better, man. We gotta stop with this us and them talk. That was killing us.
Yes.
The us and them. It needs to be, if it's going to be a us and them, it need to be law-abiding Americans versus the criminals.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of videos on Black people, but we also understand that it's not just Black people that are the problem. There are bad apples in every ethnicity, but we choose to bring light to the Black people because we know we can do better than this. We know we have to do better than this. And the only way to get to that point is to recognize that we have a problem. And most people are not talking about the problem. They're just saying, oh,
fix it.
or we're placing blame on somebody, on somebody else.
And it was the white man's fault why I can't do
slavery.
This. It's slavery because
all that. Say, man, we need to be looking forward.
Yeah.
If we look forward more than we look back, then we can have a future that is reflective of how most people are living, which is not in racism.
Right.
That's that internet talk.
Boy.
But yeah. We're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Man, I hope y'all have a blessed day, blessed evening, blessed whatever y'all have going on. Bless your family too. But like always, it's love, peace, and soul. Like Soul Train, baby.